So welcome back. We are here with the Wishful Podcast. My name, the host, Jamal. We have, she wants to be called Perda because people mispronounce her name. So we gonna call her Perda. We also have, you know him, the man, the myth, the legend, the man. We gonna call him the man. We ain't gonna call him a myth or a legend. He the man. He right there. You can see him. He ain't far from me. I can touch him. Y'all can't, but I can touch him. He right there. Mr. Kenzo.
True.
So, this is our late night conversation about relationships. I call it late night because it's late at night, and we're going to talk about relationships. I'm simple. So, our first question, we could go, whoever wants to go, and go. First question, in relationships, what makes a relationship work?
Communication.
Okay.
Communication, trust, and loyalty.
Ooh, communication, trust, and loyalty. Hold up. Let me get my handy dandy pen and to write this down.
Uh-huh.
It's a good one.
What say you, sir?
You know, for me, I won't use any particular words, but I guess the ability to, for the self to evaporate and engulf into the other being. Meaning when she is speaking, not only am I listening, but I no longer exist because
it's all about her.
I'm her now. I'm her problem. It is all about her. So I cease to exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, I cease to exist, and now it's all about you. You have the attention. Now, she may not be able to do what I do, but that's the reason why she has me. She has to be very lucky to have me. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, sir. The ability to submit to her space, the ability to submit to her being and her problem, whether it be minuscule or enormous, it don't even matter. You just cease to exist, and she becomes everything, essentially.
Okay.
So wait a minute. What do you mean by the action of submission? Because that's a submission. This is something that women have issues when it comes to submission, because we sacrifice a lot of things as women. We sacrifice to go ahead as our, like, of course, we let go our last name. We sacrifice our body to go ahead and have a child. Then we go ahead and, of course, we have to please the man. But I understand, like, when women go through things and stuff like that, like, they go to work, they go to take care of the kid, they come back to take care of the kid, but originally they have 3 jobs, literally. They have 3 jobs. They have their main job, the kid, to take care of the kid, and then take care of you. So there's 3 jobs there. So it's just like, that's the thing that some men tend to lack that sense of, like, communication. Not communication. I would say, I don't know. It's just like, I understand men are literal when it comes to saying, like, the actual conversation of it. Like, they want a woman to tell them, but they also don't want to be like act like, hey, I'm not psychic. I get that part, but I mean, like, to the part, like, submission, where are you going with that part?
So it seems like the submission that you speak of is the one that is man-made and Europeanized.
Yeah.
My submission that I speak of is one of the body, of the mind, and of the soul. You know, this is 3-dimensional. type submission. And this is one that is no construct that man has created, but this is beyond man that the woman is already
Mhm.
in tune with, whether it be a woman or a man. But this is not any. But this is not any. This is not any type of being. This is the person who completely knows who they are outside the pyrogram
Mhm.
of the
Mhm.
patriarch. Right. This used to be a
Mhm.
matriarch world. The woman was in charge because the woman had intuition, meaning she was always connected to source, meaning she always had higher power. She always had higher intuition. She knew what was what. And this is in the beginning of creation. Obviously, right now we live in a
Yeah.
patriotic world, which is controlled by European people and European men who are disconnected from the
Mhm.
spiritual world. So submission to them is material, is very physical, one dimensional. While as submission in the African sense or in a black mind sense is a three-dimensional thing. So just to clarify, this is where I'm coming from with it. From both parties, not even just the men or not even just the woman, because essentially we are both man and woman. I am electricity and I am magnetic. The woman is magnetic and the woman is electric. So we have both the masculine and feminine within us. Otherwise, how am I able to speak to a woman? How am I able to speak to my sister? How am I
Yeah.
able to raise a daughter without a woman in my life? Essentially because I am channeling the woman within me, right? So
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
is where I'm coming from, but this is a very, very high perspective that most people don't have. And
Yeah.
so I am here to offer that. You know what I'm saying? So this brother is coming correctly. That's all. That's all.
No, I understand where you're coming from with that because, like, it seems
Hmm.
like I had to go into that kind of a direction because of where we're living in the society of like
Yeah.
how we are and stuff like that. Of course, like stuff has been in a man-made kind of way of like, oh, when you grow up, get married, or no, like go to school, go to college, go get married, and then like of course it's institutionalized in that kind of way
That's
of like
right.
putting that kind of stuff towards of a woman and taking care of the kids, go to work, take care of the kids and take care of your man. But it's just like I've seen that with my sisters, and it's just like when I see it with my sisters, even though I'm not married, and you know uh I'm seeing this with their kids and everything else, but it's just like the the hardship of how things are when I'm seeing things in two different ways
Yeah.
in uh, a biracial couple and then another way of like a black couple,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing it like in two different ways, and it's like wow, like it's very
Yeah.
different. It is very different.
Indeed. Indeed.
It
Yeah. I
it
think
it
I think go ahead, go ahead.
no, no, no. I'm just saying like I see it in a very different, like marriage wise. Like the
Hmm.
husband, like okay, like my little sister, she has her she has her black husband, but my older sister, she has her white husband, but in a different, like he's in a different culture altogether. Of course, like his family was in that type of region of the Holocaust, of a different kind of suffrage, a different kind of like issues and stuff like that. But of us black people, we went through our suffrage for our 400
Mhm.
plus years of what we dealt with, of course. And you've seen the two sides of the biracial um like love there. Of course, you see it there, but also when I see it with my little sister, that is, they're black. and I'm like, it's very different. I don't know. It's like I don't know. It's like I can't. It's like I see my little sister. She's more happy in her pregnancy when she
Mm.
had her kid, and then like when I saw with my older sister, she was happy, but in a slight different way
Mm-hmm.
with both of her kids.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't know. It's just like it's a different thing. It is really different. And then I was like thinking to myself like, and then I spoke with my sisters and I said like I see the way that their husbands are, like they see each other. Like literally they see, like how like you're married. Now I don't know how you married. What am I talking about?
We get it. We get it.
I mean, I mean, like when it comes to marriage, sorry, rephrase, circle back around. We rhyme,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when it comes to marriage, like you see a married couple, when you see a married couple, like you see within the man and the woman, like they see each other, like they know each other. They have that connection within each other. Like I see you, you see me. I know
Right.
you love me. I know that it was like that I love you. That kind of intertwined connection, that bond with that person. Like I see that within both of them.
Mm-hmm.
But the relationship is much deeper with when I see with my little sister. I don't know if it's just because like she met him in a different way. Like not everyone is lucky to have that kind of relationship that you met your husband when you're in college and his group of friends was like when she was in. Okay, here's the thing. I'm proud of my sister. I'm happy for her. She started college at the age of 15.
Mm.
So it's like she was a real book, you know, begging
Superstar.
my
Yeah, yeah.
like that kind of like book, like she was begging my dad to go to Costco to get the second book of Harry Potter and the third
Mm.
book, the fourth book, the fifth book. She kept like getting at him, that kind of a thing. And I
Gotcha.
never forgot those days, in the 90s, well, in the
Mm-hmm.
2000s, early 2000s. But I mean, like, it's just like the kind of love that I see with my little sister. Not everyone is like, like at 15 going to uh you know community college to go ahead and then you see your husband there,
Right,
and you
right,
met
right, right.
him and you're talking with him, you're friends with him for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're friends with his friends and you got all they go to bowling together, they do all the stuff together, all the friends
Right.
together. And then it's like that kind of a connection. Like you, of course, like I see how there's a difference. You married your
Yes.
best friend,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other hand, you met when you're a grown adult and at a job. You met at a job, and it's just like it's very different. It's very intertwined. It's like they both my older sister, she met her husband at a government job, but it's just like she met him through paper that way. Isn't that
Sure,
weird?
sure,
Met him through
sure.
paper because
If anything, I would also mention what you didn't mention is, the possibility of having the same background. Again, these are melanated people. Your sister is with a melanated brother. The other one is not. That
no.
alone right there is a
Mm-hmm.
major connection automatically, right? Which you
Yeah.
didn't mention. Anybody can meet anybody anywhere. Connections can be found anywhere, but of course it has to go deeper because DNA gets involved. And when you
Mm-hmm.
look like me, I'm able to love myself. And if I love me, I'm gonna be able to love you because you look like me. You know what I'm
But
saying?
wait a
So
minute.
that,
Isn't it
go
supposed
ahead.
to be the other way around? Like
Supposed
love
to be,
yourself
which
first
is a
before doing
rule,
anything else?
but supposed to be is something that you create for yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if there's no conditions involved, and I'm just going just automatically from what I'm seeing and what I'm used to, obviously my mom is black. I'm gonna look for a black woman. At least for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not tainted nor affected by external things as far as televisions and books and who I should pursue. Because
Yeah.
when I look for a person that's loving and caring, my mother is that first example before
Yeah.
anybody, before any woman that I come across. My mother is gonna be that first example. And if she did her job right, if she did an excellent job, I'm gonna look for a woman who looks just like her. It's just that point blank period for me. Now,
Well,
it may not be the case for everybody else, but
no.
essentially, the person is gonna look for somebody who look like them. Like a lion is gonna look for a lioness. It's not gonna look for a turtle. It's not gonna look for a frog. It's not gonna look for a bird. It's gonna look for a lioness. You know what I'm saying? Because it can relate. So therefore, us humans have that same characteristic within us as well, too.
But like,
No
okay.
matter how consciously intelligent we are, we still gonna go to the basics way of how we mate and
Mm-hmm.
find our mates essentially. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So there are people who will go out of their mating preferences. It's perfectly fine. It's okay. But
Mm-hmm.
normally we tend to go within our mating preferences. So if you're from the same culture and background for me, chances are I may want to be with you. Or you don't gotta be from the same culture and background, but you can look just like me, and there's plenty of that, right? So
Yeah.
just a little preference I'll throw out there, if anything.
Because I understand, like it's a preference, of course. Every person has their preference and stuff like that. When I spoke with my sister about that, and she's like, "Oh, wouldn't you want to go ahead and date with a white man?" I said, like, well, like I tried
Ooh.
that. It was like it just didn't pan out the way I thought it would pan out. It was like that you
Ah,
would have it to pan out, but it's just like I
uh-huh.
told her that, you know, and I said, how do you do it? It's just like, I don't see color. And I was like, why do people say that? Like
You see
every
color.
interracial relationship that I've dealt with people that I've seen people like that or have friends like that,
Mm-hmm.
they always say that same phrase over and over and over again. I don't see color. And I said,
Yeah, all right.
It's like it's every time. It's like, and I'm like, wait a
It's
minute, like,
interesting.
is that the same phrase that everybody says, like in their relationship, in just order to go ahead and keep face with the person that they're with?
I suppose so, because unless you want to really get deeper and be like, ask them what do they really mean by that, then you might like, there's some variations may come across. But yeah, sometimes it depends on their upbringing. It depends on them particularly as well too, right? Because I
Hmm.
can I can have three kids within the same household and raise them to be exact the same way, but somewhere along the line, they all three of them are going to pan out to be different because
Yep.
individually they are their own person,
Yep.
and that's where the laws of reincarnation comes into play if you believe in that, because there is a past life before this life,
Oh yes, there is.
and there are contributions and configurations that do get reimbursed within this present life that shows presently.
Hmm.
For instance, the way how they act, the way how they see things is going to be drastically different. So reincarnation has to come into play with these things. But if people don't really believe in that, then it's kind of up for grabs, right? But reincarnation kind of gives you a way to explain it, but
Hmm.
not the full explanation. But it gives you an idea as to why that person is configured like that, while this child is configured like that, and that child is that way,
Hmm.
right? So it's so much piece to the puzzle, but that's one of them I would definitely want to highlight because, as a person, as a firm believer of it, how else do you explain why this child acts this way and why that one doesn't? You know what I'm saying? Because they both came
Right.
up the same way. They both raised in the same household with the same mom and dad, but yet they both entirely different. You even see it in twins. They look the
Right.
exact same way, and yet these twins are going to be drastically different because
Different.
reincarnation.
Right.
It's quite simple. It's a very
So
spiritual
wait,
thing
so
right there.
wait.
The other thing
I'm
about
I'm gonna go and we
Go
gonna.
ahead.
This is actually gonna segue into the next question because I'm not just a question
Mm-hmm.
axer here. I want to put some. I don't want just y'all two to talk and I sit there and look. I'm gonna put a little bit, just a little bit. I'm gonna put a little bit into it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've first my mama told me, and she meant this, meant it. Whatever age I was, my mama told me, "Don't you bring no white woman home." She meant it.
Yeah.
Now, so Wishful
Yeah.
Podcast people,
wow.
y'all may know, y'all may not know. I'm from New Orleans, born and raised. I don't live in New Orleans no more. I now live in the Midwest. I moved in the Midwest in 2015. I've been here for 10 years. 10 years. I've been living in the Midwest.
No.
Not too
Now, my
long, brother.
mama told me, don't you bring home a
Yeah.
white woman, long time ago. And I'll say this.
Whoa.
I was born in 1982. I'm the kind of person, I don't have an issue with saying my age, none of that. New Orleans, Louisiana. I was
Yeah.
raised in it was kind of a mixed neighborhood, but all of my schooling has been black. High school, black. College, I went to Jackson State in Jackson, Mississippi. Black. The places I worked were
Wow.
black. I honestly still to this day in
Wow.
2025, I don't know how to honestly have a conversation with a white woman because if this white woman smiles,
Oh.
I don't know if she's smiling because she's nervous or she thinks I'm going to hurt her and she's just trying to
Mm.
get me to go away. I don't know this. So my teaching is I'm going to go stick with the black woman. I understand her emotions. I know when she makes certain faces, when she says certain things, I can go with that. White women, no. Again, I don't have nothing against them. I don't know how to talk to them, and this also is definitely, we're gonna put a pin in this. This is definitely a topic for another day with these celebrities and everything else. With I mean, it's real. We got black celebrities being put into rooms in areas with white women or white men if it's a black celebrity,
Yeah.
and a lot of the public, they don't know this. They just
Yeah.
think, oh wow, so and so is a sellout.
Yeah.
No, it's yeah,
Nah. It's
it's
purposely
it's a.
engineered.
It's
Indeed.
personally.
I'm
Yes.
gonna sit
Yeah.
back.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Personally
sit
done.
back. It's
Yes. From your college footballs athletes to
Yep.
your
Yep.
first round draft pick guaranteed, people are essentially
Rappers.
kind of
it's
They're
match
all like
made in
that.
heaven. Yes,
above
Jomar,
it's
indeed.
above
It's
the pay
definitely
grade.
engineered. I
It's
have to
above,
agree.
and we gonna get to that. We gonna
Yep.
get to that definitely.
Yep.
Now I'm not gonna say that I wouldn't talk to a white woman if she came to me and she made it known that she was interested and like we talk like to adults and we just talk like adults, then yeah, I'd be very curious to see. But at the same time, I
Mm-hmm.
know me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
dark skinned. I'm gonna bring up stuff like how you gonna deal with this? Like, I got fired because this person said that basically the typical racist problems that's happening in job. Like, how are you gonna deal with this as you being my girlfriend? You seen the movie Malcolm X? White
Oh.
woman went to Malcolm X and she's like, "How can I help you?" He said, "You can't." And I kind of laughed at it because I was in a different mind space, and I'm like, you can't
Wow.
because it's real. you have all of these things. White people can this I'm going on a rabbit hole, going on a tangent. I'm sorry, it's
Yes,
okay.
you are,
We're gonna
sir.
get back
Yes, you are.
we gonna get back to it. We're gonna get back to it. But
Oh
it's
man.
like you can get away with this stuff at your job. I cannot. I can't be X amount of minutes late.
Yeah.
They're going to find a way to terminate me. You, however, hey,
Yep.
well, so and so, she had to, put another hem in her daughter's school skirt. It's okay. She's 45 minutes, hour and a half late. It's okay. Hey, this guy, his house burned down. He has nothing. The car caught 6 flat tires, and hey, he's 3 minutes late. Can him. I can't have this
Kill him.
conversation with my white girlfriend because it's not gonna happen. So all of that to say, we are now going to go into cultures because y'all kind of went to it. Does culture and or background make a difference in relationships?
Somewhat, yeah. What I've seen with my sister, my older sister, with her German husband, because they could relate. And
Yeah.
I didn't
She
hear
said
that.
that
Okay,
earlier. Yeah.
go ahead.
with her German husband,
Yeah, it was a German husband. Yeah, you tripping, Joe.
with her German husband, because I have a sister. Okay, I have 2 sisters. I have my older sister. I have my younger sister. My older sister is married to a German man, and my younger sister is married to a Black African American man, but their origin goes back to Jamaica and
The islands.
another island. I
So
forgot.
where is he from? Like
Oh.
what state rather?
What? No, they both like my little sister's husband, Malcolm. Oops, I'm not supposed to say his name. He was like, he's
Malcolm X. That's cool.
Dang, everybody know he black, so whoops. So he's like their origin, like of course in like their family goes back to like Jamaica, of course, but I mean like they're like they all met in Florida,
What part of Florida?
but it's just like what part of Florida?
I'm just
Why is that even
it's,
important?
it's okay.
I know.
You gonna answer this one, but what part of Florida? If you know that they met,
that they met,
or
I know where they met.
the origins part. You said
I'm not gonna say the exact place where they met because this is social media. This is something that people could just go ahead and pick up and just say, hey, all right, we're gonna go ahead and narrow down this, and this, and then go ahead and come back.
Well, okay. So
like,
Florida,
Florida.
We can go with that. You don't have to go into details. Okay.
Yes. South of Florida, bingo. Just because south of Florida, there's so many counties. You got to pick one. Okay, like figure it out. We don't know.
See, I'm from Dade County, and Dade County, the only county that matters in Florida. So, hey, that's how I come through with. Anything else, don't even. It's not even Florida. Anything else?
Yeah, but it's not that part. Okay, I'm just telling you, it's not that part. Okay, crap. They met somewhere else, but it's not that one.
You good? Go ahead.
But anyway, what is it? It's just like it's very different. It is very different. Black love, when you see it, it's very different. Interracial love, it's slightly different when you see it. It's just like, of course, they're happy. Of course, you see the happiness there and you see the unity there. Of course, but when it comes to like when I see the different side of argument on both sides, on different houses. Okay, like when it comes to their disagreements and when it comes to their marriage, that kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference when you see a marriage. Like my parents, their marriage, they just celebrated their marriage on Martin Luther King Day. And it's weird how I realized that on the 20th, and that's their, their marriage anniversary of 49 years. 48 years, whoops. 48 years.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful.
And because I have to backtrack because because of how old my older sister is. He was like, because she's always like that 1 year younger. Yeah. So that's going to turn into it, you know? So the way I see my parents and how they put the standard there, excuse me, sorry, how they put the standard there, it's just like, it's hard to find a guy that's willing to have that stance to go ahead and to to be with that person, have that unity with that person, have that connection, have that that everything with that person, and then knowing that you have one person in the back of your mind that has your back no matter what, and then having that one woman that has your back no matter what. It's just like, in how, like, my parents went through it, you know, from Brooklyn, New York to south of Florida, and then going from one county to the other, one part of the county to go to another part of the county to get that house that they wanted, and
Mm.
to put their kids in and everything. But I mean, like, the argument that I've seen with them and how they recover with their argument in a black couple, how I've seen it with my parents, I see it with my little sister.
Mm-hmm.
I see it slightly a little bit with my older sister. When they do have an argument, it's slightly different, but because they go ahead and go through something and they try to go ahead and make it with that, but it's just like, it's slightly different, but they do circle back around, but it takes them a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
But my little sister, they're at that point, like, we ain't going to bed with an argument, that kind of a thing. It's the same thing what my parents have. They're like, no, we're gonna nip this, we're gonna stop this, we
Mm.
and then it's just like my older sister. It's like you have it's like a 24-hour thing. you know, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand it. That's the part that I didn't understand. But even when I was with when I dated a white man, I just felt like something in me I couldn't pinpoint, but I was like, there's no connection here at all, none whatsoever. I can't find
Mm.
it. There is nothing
Mm.
there. Even when he kissed me on the cheek, I was like, where is the connection? Like, I felt something was blank, something was empty, something was missing, something was not there. That's what I felt when he kissed me on the
See.
cheek and stuff like that. Or you hold my hand, he's like, I like this with you and this and that. It's like, and then, like, I did not feel anything there, none whatsoever. And it's sad that I had to tell him. He was a nice guy. He was a gentleman. He was nice. But I could not. I had told him, like, I'm sorry, but you're a nice person, but I think, like, you would be best with somebody else.
And this is the German,
And he's like,
or
really? No, this is just a white guy.
This
My
is some white person that she was with.
and like, my sister's husband is German. There you go. It's like, so, and Right. It's like some white guy that I've met, I just can't get that connection with him. Like, I couldn't get that. Even when I went on a date with him, I couldn't do it. I just like I
Mm.
couldn't find the actual connection with that. But when it comes to a black man, like when I hold his hand, when I go ahead and touch his arm, when I go ahead and rub his back, it's just like, or he touches me or he hugs me or any of that sort. Like
There's nothing to look for. It's all
it's like
right there.
it's like I feel the connection somewhere around there, but it's like it's different. It's very, very, very different.
Yeah.
The conversation is
Mm-hmm.
different too. Like the relation of understanding each other, of seeing each other and like, oh, I see you. I see you too. Like, it's like, oh, I recognize you. What do you? It's like, what are you doing? It's like, that kind of a thing. That kind of notion of it. But when it comes down to what you're saying, Jamar, about a black woman, of what, like, oh, don't bring no white woman to my house, like, yeah, that's your mom's preference, but all it boils down to, it's your preference of
Mm-hmm.
what you want to do, of how you find that connection. If you do find a connection with a white woman, or if you find a connection with a Hispanic woman, you know, bonita to you too. But I don't know. But I just, I wouldn't mind if I was with a Hispanic man. I wouldn't mind if it was like, how do you say, a Trini or any of that sort. But I'm
Hmm.
just saying, like, it's just like, I don't know if it's just like I have to connect with some kind of blackness somewhere in there around, within the mix of the milkshake somewhere. Gotta be, chocolate milkshake somewhere. Like, but not. It's like I've dealt with a black man before, of course. Like out of my relationships, I have dealt with a black man, but like longer term relationships, out of all my relationships, they're all black. Like I only had two men that was like pretty much mixed. One recent, one that was my very first. That's it. But when it came to the actual connection of it, I can't put myself into the point of actually being in a relationship with a white man. I don't know.
I get it. I watch a lot of movies, and I see a lot of the commercials that's being shown on television because that's what they're trying to push.
Mm.
And again, that's something different.
The
Yeah.
interracial
But
agenda. Yes,
I'm
yes.
Yeah.
we speaking for us. Me, damn it, I need
Yes.
cocoa butter. I love a black woman. I I'm
You
bruh.
said
It's
cocoa
it's the
butter.
it's
Butter.
the hair products that she put in her. It's the smell of a black woman. It's the essence. I think that might be the word I'm looking for. Just the whole essence of it.
Oh
A white
God.
woman, again, I've never dated one, like actually be in a relationship with one, but like Pantene Pro V, all that shampoo, I'm
See?
I don't. Weirdly enough, I don't I need to look and see where I've seen this. I think this was on YouTube or something, and it was like a guy just talking about
What?
random races, and he was like, "White people don't wash their legs." And I looked at this video like, you got to be lying.
Oh,
And
oh.
sure enough, he asked these people, and white people don't wash their legs. I'm like, bruh, no. White people, you wash your hair every damn day. Black people, don't you touch my hair. No, I don't want my hair to get wet. It ain't happening. We gonna fight. No, damn it. Give me a Walmart bag. I'm gonna tie
No,
it.
no,
Give me
no,
something.
no.
I'm tying my hair. I don't want my hair to get wet. And that's real. I used to have Wishful Podcast people. I'm gonna find a picture, and I'm gonna figure out how to post it. I used to have locks. I grew my locks out twice. The second time, I just cut them out. The second time I cut them off, they were 12. I forgot how long they were. They were all the way to my butt. They
Pretty
were
long.
very
Pretty
long.
long.
Did I want my hair to get wet when I got in the shower? No. Why? Because it took like a week for them to dry. And again, this is something black people understand. You, Mr. Kenzo, you get your hair wet, damn it. How long is it going to take for your hair to dry? Long.
A couple hours, my good sir. A couple hours. Yeah. But also you have to also know, like, this what we have on top of our head is hair. But for Caucasians, it's fur.
What's going on in your background? Whoa.
Nah, sleep. But it's fur. So this is hair. For them, it's fur. It's a little different.
Touch your hair? Yep.
Can I
it's drastic.
Touch your hair?
Huh?
Oh, you just got it done. It's so nice to me, and it looks like.
You see what I'm saying? What you need this?
Sorry, sir.
There you go. But yeah, so essentially, that's why they are the way that they are. But also, it's funny because even them, they haven't really, know who they are.
Right.
Like their true essence, right? I've done the research. I have to because I'm very curious. And I know that these are Africans who depigmentated. Like they lost their pigmentations during the during a particular time when the Earth trend was going to a cold trend.
Noses. The noses.
Go ahead. Huh?
The noses. Go ahead. The noses.
The nose got straight because you are in a very cold climate.
Yeah.
Right? And when you're in a very cold climate, your nose and the physiology of your body is going to straighten up according to your climate. So these Africans who were big nose, brown skinned people during migration, and there was migrating in the northern part of north of Africa, which we call the Caucasus Mountains, particularly. They got caught during a time where it was about to be stupidly cold. And the only way you can survive a cold is inside of a cave. So when you go into a cave to survive this cold, a couple of things are going to happen. The human body, which is a machine, is one of the greatest technology ever. It will either die or it's going to survive. And, well, the human body chose to survive. And in order to survive is going to go to a mutation. And this particular mutation that is called depigmentation. And because there is no beautiful sunlight to give us sun 24 hours, there is only darkness. And therefore, they had to shed their melanin. But in shedding their melanin, their follicles in their hair, which is 9 ether or coil, turn to straight. And then they produce a particular oil within their hair to make sure that it remains straight. So now, that's right. And also, the reason why they became very animalistic is because the pineal gland is no longer being influenced by the sunlight. So the pineal gland, which is also our doorway to spirituality, to spiritual things, our connection to the natural world, their pineal gland became crystallized and therefore got cut off. It got cut off from the spiritual world and the natural world, and it became very animalistic. So now these black people are no longer Africans anymore. They are now animals, almost in a way. And because they stayed in the cave for several thousands of generations, also, they about 7,000 to 8,000 years old. About 7,000 to 8,000 years old. So these are freshly new species on this earth.
You going to 80 now?
Oh, I know my shit. Trust me. Yes. But the thing about it is they don't know this.
No,
the vast majority of them. they don't know this facts about themselves. They don't know that they're Africans. They don't know that these are, again, we say non-melanin, but yet I'm still using melanin inside the word. So their skin is still melanin. It's just not as pigmented as ours is because of the lack of sunlight. They found a new way to survive on the world. That's all it is. But now that our sun is getting hotter, it's about to expose that. But regardless, so that's why you are still attracted to a black person, Joe, because for the past millions of years, dare I say billions, we've walked upon the earth black as fuck on this earth. It's only been that's on it. That's always ever been is melanated people, because again, the creator is going to create what it needs to create in its rightful environment. A polar bear is created in the snow. You won't find a polar bear in a desert. It's created in its rightful environment. You know what I'm saying? So everything is exactly as such. And also as above as below, which is the higher esoteric meaning. So if you create a perfect being, which is melanated, you also got to create an imperfect being, which is going to be the non-melanated kind of the counterbalance of creation. It's just how it goes and how it be. But that's why you are attracted to a black woman, because they have been around for eternity, essentially.
Wow.
for
like
forever.
You can't,
so of course,
like you can't
you can't even try to.
Yeah.
No, it's impossible. It's impossible. You got to work extremely hard, right? And even then, you still are also falling in love with the external portion of themselves,
right?
Because what is the color of a spirit? What is the color of energy? You have no idea. You can't tell me. But the difference of that, what makes them who they are, is their energy as well too. So if you find a real connection with a non-melanated person, which we call white people or Caucasian, it's because you fell in love with their energy and their spirit, and you just related to it. But other than that, it's going to be personal problems that you have to deal with. It's going to be self-hate problems that you haven't really faced. 100%. I have to. Unfortunately, it's just what that is. If it's not the energy way, it's going to be the personal identity way, which tends to be the case. And also, we also have the propaganda, which you just mentioned. The commercials are actually intentionally putting black and white people together, right? Because they know that they can't survive in a hot sun world, because the world now is going toward warming trends. It's about to get more hotter, and people who survive heat are people with melanin. So in order for your DNA and generation to survive, you got to get with a melanated woman or a melanated man. So this is about survivability, like it's always been. It was all about survival when they got out the cage. It remains to be survival when I say cage, my bad. Cave. It was all about survival when they got out the cave, because they figured nature was against them. So they want to conquer nature and kill anything that's associated with nature, which is melanated people or black people. So they want to conquer nature, control nature, and all of that, right? But now seeing that they can't do none of that, well, I guess we got to get with them one way or another. So here's the program, which is the interracial program, which you're going to see your televisions, your commercials, your football players, all of that good stuff, right? So therefore, you have the programming, you have the self-hate, you have all of these other instruments that are in play for people to choose their partners, which is almost a bit of a pressure as well too to do so. But then you also got the situation what you mentioned with your mom, right? And that is which is a program. Essentially, it is a program, because her moms grew up in that time where they was extremely dominated by these white folks. So therefore, I'd be damned if I see my child with these people who have dominated us. So that's her program, and she's instilling this program within you, Joe, which you have captivated and somewhat made it a part of your life as well too. But also, if you're willing to try with a white woman, you have made exceptions to do so. But that exception is very small and very limited. So they still got no chances, really, essentially. But it's very interesting. But nevertheless, to answer your question about the culture, it does play a role, 100%. Because that's where tribalism comes into play.
Mhm.
which when the world was just black people, the only thing to differentiate us was tribes and our tribalism. Which tribe are you from? Are you from the Choctaw? Okay, nah, we don't mess with them people. We don't mess
Mhm.
with them people. Are you Seminole? Okay, yeah, 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 bet. We rock it together. We rock it together. The Choctaws, I don't fuck with them, but the Seminoles, we together. But these are still black people, still. You know what I'm saying? So, and yet this tribalism that we have and has been embedded in us for a very long time has yet still managed to survive to this very day. Because the Africans in Africa come over here, and who they group up together with?
Yep.
Like-minded Africans.
Yep.
They stay away from Americans.
Yep. They stay away from the Black Americans. They don't like them.
They do. Not only is the government telling them to do so, but also the television, their programming, the people around them, and they don't want us to come together. First
Mm-mm.
and foremost, forbid we come together. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. But nevertheless, that tribalism do exist, and it has survived before slavery and after slavery.
Mm.
But slavery and tribalism goes hand in hand because that's how slavery even became to begin with. No European is going to come into Africa and conquer it without tribalism. It's impossible.
Mm.
Impossible. So you going to have to bribe and work with these particular tribes who don't like each other in order to get them to go against each other and then conquer them later on, which would happen, right? So, yeah, that's a bit I offer.
Okay. So moving on. I had to skip a couple things. I'm trying to number
Aw.
them. We don't worry. We gonna get to them. Is expectations. Do you explain them at the beginning, or do you expect your partner to just know expectations of being in a relationship?
No. Don't don't This is what I tell my friends, like, don't do that to men.
Hmm?
Like, try to, it's like, communicate with your man that you want to go ahead and be with, of what you like and what you don't like. It's like this, it's the actual think of, like, of communication with them. It's like communication, and even though you're trying to get to know the person, it's like, where it's not like, how do you say it? Not like, I'm not trying to go the route of like therapy, blah blah blah. I mean, like, of boundaries, whatever. I mean, like, communication is very much key when you try to go ahead and convey something to the other person, because they need to know. It's not like a man expectations. It's like, it's something that, like, okay, I understand for what most of my friends have stated, like, most of our friends have stated, like, oh, yeah, a man's supposed to go ahead and take care of us, and a man's supposed to do this and that and the third, and a man is supposed to, like, that thing that's going around on TikTok, like, oh, I don't have the mortgage.
The
That
mortgage.
thing.
Shit.
Oh, I. I don't got the payment for the mortgage. I don't got the payment for the rent. I don't got this, whatever. It's just I um I like the way I see it, like, expectations for the relationship. I would say, like, communication with the person, and seeing how, where you align with them and how they align with you. And that kind of a thing is like, it depends on where you sit with certain things in life, when what you can deal with and what you cannot deal with, and it's stuff like that kind of a thing. It's like, I don't know why people put that kind of a stuff when it comes to money or any of that sort on men. Like, even though they have the overbearing of everything on top of them, when it comes to certain things, like, okay, the stress of actually taking care of the rent, the stress of actually taking care of the, like, the mortgage and all the utilities in the house and everything else. And like, okay, then wait a minute. If the man's doing all this, then what is? Of course, the woman is taking care of the kids. But I mean, like, I understand like the role that was portrayed as like, oh, like back in the tribes. Yes, we can go back in the tribes of like south of Africa, the tree tribes, and everywhere, like all those tribes, or even all the tribes in Africa before Africa even came or even named by Africanus. It's like when the men left their women in the village to go ahead, take care of the kids and everything that they had, or even maintain the household of what they had, while the men went out to go hunt for their food. Like, okay, like how the modern way, how they say it today. Like, oh, okay, honey brought
Mm.
the bacon, you know,
Mm.
like the what is it? The European wise, how they say it. It's like the men have already brought the bacon home, and this and that and the third, and blah blah blah. So it's just like
Mhm.
it's like the hunter gatherers kind of thing, that kind of motion of what men have done and keeping the food on the table. And also I've seen that of course with my parents, like, but it's different. It's slightly different. Of course, how it's done modernly throughout the 80s and everything else, and how the 2090s, 2000s, and stuff like that. Of course, how I've seen it throughout the times. But how I've seen it is like, of course, the European wise of how things are, but I've seen it in a slightly different way. Like, of course, like nowadays women, of course, they're living by themselves, they're taking care of the bills by themselves, they're doing everything by themselves. But you know of the lost kind of way of like, oh, that power to the woman, you could do it yourself, you could do this, da, 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 whatever. But they're forgetting about the man. They're like, hey, like, what are you doing? It's like, shoot, you know
Mhm.
it's like it's like years later done passed, like, oh, where's my man at? I was like, you done forgot about your man, you know while you was doing power this, power that, whatever. But I mean, like, the second notion of it, what I mean by it, it's like when it's like the man is taking care of everything. Of course, like how I seen it with my parents, it's like how I seen it. It's like my dad, he has his businesses, of course, but when it came down to it, he took care of the house. He took care of the cars. He took care of the house, the cars, the bills. My mom did go to work. Yes, she did. At first, when before the businesses even started, they were both working. But my dad still took care of all the finances altogether. My mom just gave like, oh, here you go, here's the check, figure it out, and that was it. So it's just like he's like, I understand we're Haitian, but it's just like, mais check là, allez, dégage, you know. Figure it out. Here's a check, figure it out. That's what my
Major
mom would
facts.
do.
Yep. Yep.
And then my dad would literally take care of in Brooklyn. This is in Brooklyn
Mhm.
time. He had the
Yep.
taxi, everything, the medallion, still to this day
Oh.
with with this medallion. And I'm like, man,
He laughed.
you better sell it because you had this medallion since, like, in the 80s. You know how much a medallion is today from the
Yeah.
80s? Early 80s, like
Hmm.
millions of dollars. I mean millions. Okay, but anyway, back to the thing. But I mean, like, he was doing taxi, she was working at the hotel. Basically, it's just like you check the check, he goes ahead and pays the rent, he takes care of the bills, all that stuff. Even though he still took his morals to go ahead and still take care of everything. Even though my mom was pregnant with me, my little sister, but still at the same token, she still took care of everything. She still went to work, and then even though when she was down, he still took care of everything else. It's like it's about the unity, or the way that two people would go ahead and combine things together and making it work together when on a come up on something, even though she gave him the actual idea. Do this first business first so we can get out of this, so we can do
Mm,
this. I
mm.
understand the woman always has a way to go ahead and come to a man's ear and say, like, hey, let's make our money get higher. Let's do this,
Yep.
that, and this. Let's go
Oh
ahead and do this.
yes.
And, I understand my dad, literally, even though he gives her diamonds, he gives her whatever she wants. He gives her the cars that she wants, whatever she wants. It's like, all right, you want this car? All right, here's this Beamer for Mother's Day. What man does that? Of course, there's some men that do that. There's different statures of men that do that. But
Hmm.
when a man has seen a woman that puts him in a place of leveling up his money,
Exalt.
he
Hmm.
won't forget that woman.
Yep.
So it's like it's I when it comes to that kind of level of stuff that I've seen with my parents, it's like, even though there was some discrepancies when it came to, like, I don't know if this is going to be another topic or whatever, of cheating, he still didn't leave.
Well, in our culture, it's not cheating. It's what they call it.
I got it on locote. Yeah, hey, come on, stop. Hey, say stop it. Come on, I know that. You think I don't know? I know that. Got it on locote, my little tune. I know.
Or what is it? What is it? Polygamy.
Look at
Polygamy.
me.
That's an unspoken thing within the Haitian culture. Yeah.
Yeah, polygamy that doesn't. No,
Uh-huh.
no, no, no. Well, okay. Some Haitian couples, some.
Yeah,
There's some.
the thing is, I find it very drastic within the culture, but it goes unspoken. That's
Bingo.
that's what it is. It's unspoken. It's like the woman's
Oh,
already supposed to know and take her place, and why the man go do what he do. But if it's not spoken of, then you know what I'm saying. It's like the same thing
right.
that happened with Bob Marley. Like same thing with Bob Marley. Same thing. And when you see interviews about Rita Marley, she's not really happy about it, but she kind of just remained in her place. It's quite
Right.
interesting. Yeah,
What's that
but go
guy's
ahead, go
name?
ahead.
What is that guy's name? That singer. Crap.
Which one?
Uh, he's Haitian as well.
Mm.
He's Haitian as well, but he sings.
Not Neo.
He was with that girl,
Neo.
huh?
It ain't Wyclef, no?
No, no, not Neat. No,
Uh,
his name starts with a J.
oh,
Oh crap! Oh my goodness! He sings with a, he's in with a. Oh my goodness! I wish I could look him up, but it's telling me not to get off this app. Damn it! Like, uh Jun
Junior? No, I'm not Junior. No,
no,
that's somebody else I'm
Jannar.
thinking of.
No, look up this
I
girl's
wouldn't know.
name. I don't know if you could look up this girl's name, Fema.
FEMA.
Yeah,
She Haitian?
no,
No, that's not enough information for me. FEMA and government go hand in
no,
hand.
not Fema. Gemma. Not Gemma. Oh my God, I can't believe I keep saying Fema. Oh
Ah,
my goodness, I think her second
Marquite,
name is
oui.
Gemma. Oh my God, I can't even get this guy's name out and stuff. Whatever. He had a
That's all
kid with
right.
a YouTuber, and she has
Oh,
blonde hair, and
boy.
he's Haitian, and he kept making YouTube videos with Will Smith during the pandemic, and with his lost teeth and stuff, whatever, and stuff like
Mm-mm.
that. I
That
forgot.
doesn't ring a bell for me.
And he was making like that kind of. I can't believe I can't remember his name. Oh my goodness, dang! It's
That's
like
all right. It comes back. You just let us know. Continue.
um. But he like speaking of Haitians, it's like he was oh, I can't believe it. Jonah? No, crap. It's like so he's Haitian, but when he was dating her, she was telling him like, "Oh, no, she was tired. She shut down somebody that was like pretty much like like that was like commenting her, and she was wearing a bikini and stuff whatever, and it's sad that she had to go ahead and tell them like, "Hey, like Jen Fuma, Jen Fuma, I think that's her name. And then
Mm.
she has blonde hair, she has blue eyes, she's light skinned, and he dated her, and he's a popular singer. I can't believe I can't even pick up his name. I'm like, how damn it. But the sad thing is it's like she was talking about like cheating and stuff, whatever, and then he wanted a different girl every day of the week, and
Oh
she's like,
shit.
I'm not going to go ahead and tolerate this kind of thing. A different woman every week, every single day of the week, and stuff like that, or every week. Like he
Uh-huh.
wanted a different woman. So I was like, and then she's like, how am I going to go ahead and tolerate that kind of stuff? And his Haitian family, he said like, you could just turn your cheek to it. Just don't worry about it. He'll go ahead and come back to you because
Ha.
you got a kid. You got a
Yeah.
kid by this man. And then
Uh-huh.
she's like, no, why should I go ahead and tolerate a Haitian man to go ahead and deal with this? None whatsoever,
Right.
you know? And she literally exposed him in that way. And I felt bad. And I said, damn, it was shocking how she just said that kind of stuff. And then I was like, wow, you know, I was surprised, by that. And I said, oh, that kind of level of cheating, I can't tolerate it. I'm like, no.
Nah,
It's like,
that's something else entirely, honestly. Yeah, that's something else entirely. I couldn't even put in polygamy. Yeah, nah.
like a different
Mm-mm.
woman every week. I was like,
That's what I'm
oh,
saying. Yeah, that's him not being too sure or wanting to have fun and step out. Like that's just
but
more.
he's a
That's
he's
some
a he's a
crazy shit.
well-known singer. He is a well-known singer,
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
but
They
but the
they
singer
tend to
is
do
just,
that.
I was like, oh no.
Mm,
And I was like, why is this happening? And I said, like, when men do this, and I said, that's a whole other story altogether. But I mean, like,
mm,
for a man to go ahead and like, when it comes to that kind of a notion, when it comes to cheating or any of that sort, but it's just uh, like even though when it comes to marriage and a man cheats and he knows what he has at home, it's just like they know what they have at home, but why are you going out to go get something else? Even though
mm.
something else is lingering within the marriage that you don't like, why can't you just state to your wife, like, hey, I don't like this when you do this. I don't like this when you do that. It's like, other than going out to go ahead and seek something else that you're looking for.
But
Or
then,
maybe,
but then, where does the term and the idea come from? Cheating. Like, where's that come from?
what the idea? When I was talking about
Yeah,
like
the
how,
term and the idea. Like, where's that come from? Cheating. Like, where's that come from?
what the idea of cheating, of just like to go seek for something else.
I guess the idea, yeah, the whole idea comes together in a bundle. Like, where did it come from? Where did it originate it from? What has it always been around? You know what I'm saying? Just like monogamy, like has that always been around? Like, where these
Oh,
ideas come from?
what? Oh, you're trying to say it's or Europeanized? Is that what you're trying to say, or is it
I'm not
colonized like
really. I'm actually
Caucasian?
really curious about where it came from.
No,
As
but I,
far
I
as
what?
the term and the idea of cheating and this and that, because I do know that in Africa, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, yeah.
and the
Yeah.
village concerns everybody because that child is the future.
But is everybody your
So
wife or is every pussy your whole? That's the
but
question.
have we ever looked at it like that though? Right? Have you ever been so concerned of it like that? I have no idea. Like who
I was
put a lot of
curious about
emphasis
that.
in it?
Look at
Exactly.
Jamar.
Oh, Jamar's scared of that conversation. I'm not. I'm actually
I'm not
legitimately
either. I'm
curious
not either
about
of
that.
that. I was curious
I'm actually
about
very
that
curious
too.
about that because I do know that hasn't always been a thing, nor has it always been around, nor has it like these ideas are very still fresh because we hold on to them in a way that we do.
Mm-hmm.
But yet in America, like my mom, there's like five baby daddies within our nine siblings.
Mm.
And then in America, the man can't even keep it together with one woman, right? There's always multiple fathers for some reason. I won't say always, but there's a
Mm.
high chance of it. When you come across a man, there is multiple women. There is multiple kids with other women. Like
Yeah.
this is like a natural, almost occurrence thing, opposed to it being like a law strict thing. You see what I'm saying? So like, where does idea really do originate from? Like, where did it come from? How fresh is it? Has it been around for millions of years or only a thousands of years?
Huh.
You see what I'm
That's
saying?
the yeah. No, I understand what you're
Because
saying because like different
I
cultures.
can look
Okay.
at the animals, and the animals they're cool, they're chilling.
Yeah.
They don't fight, they don't do nothing. Everybody gets taken care of because nature take care of everything, that like it
Yep.
always does.
Yep.
But us with consciousness, we get
Yep.
feelings and emotions, which is
Mm-hmm.
imaginary and illusionary,
Mm-hmm.
right? We manifest them to make it seem like it's a really real thing, and we hold on to them.
Mm-hmm.
But yet we are temporary existence. This body is only temporary. It exists for a couple of hundred, maybe 100 years, maybe,
Yeah. Yeah.
until I go back into the ether. You know what I'm
But
saying?
I'm my question like that's the question. I was just wondering about that. I was wondering about that. Is is like is there 15 women to one man? Is there like is
There's
it
more women than men in this
yeah,
world.
of
To be
course
honest, on
there
the earth,
is.
there is way more women than men.
Yes,
And
there
then
is. But we're at
also,
the turn of the century right now that there's more men than women now. Have you
really,
looked at the actual numbers as of what it
I've never
is
have.
now?
Actually, I never
The
have actually.
turn of
Yeah.
the year of the this is the generation of what how many babies are being born. This is the
Hmm.
turn of the actual they were saying like about the turn of the star or the turn of the certain like universe that is turning into babies that are being born, but it's more boys are being born. It's a
I
gap
never heard
amount of
that.
years that are being born
Okay.
of how many boys are being born. And then from the 80s to the 90s going slightly into like there's an overlap of like where the early 2000s where the boys are starting to born more and we're in the 2000s and more boys are being born. Like I've looked it up of like how many men are in around this country itself. Just this country. I'm
Hmm.
just saying there's
Sure,
more.
sure, sure.
There's there's more boys than than girls now of the overlap that they're talking about. When I looked it up
Hmm.
on Google, I was like, "Oh my god. When did this change? When did this happen? How did
No,
this
I gotta look.
overlap?"
I gotta look into that. That's crazy because I've
It's
always,
like
yeah, it's always
I've
been women for me. It's crazy.
yeah, it's always been women. With
Hmm.
the turn, it's
Let's see who did this research. Because how could they? And to be honest, you can't even keep track of how many people is on this earth. If we really speaking, like
no,
honestly.
you can't. But when you put it into a
Yeah,
region, when you try to go ahead and
yeah.
put it into a region of how many
Sure.
men in one region of a country, like you, and then they were talking about like how the gap is going to turn, and then doctors are saying like, how is this happening? Of more boys are starting to come about, like how are they catching up? What's going on? What's happening? It's like, is it boys are being born. Like, look at this. Like, I have three nephews. Where's the girl? Where's she at? Where is she?
Mm-hmm.
Am I the one that's
Mm-hmm.
gonna give birth to a girl? Like, where's it's like, where's the girl? I was like, and then it's like, my some of my friends, they got boys that they giving birth to.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and then my other friend, my friend of 20 years, she has only one girl. I'm and then I'm baffled by it, but also it's just like, my question was from the beginning, of course, like, is it always that case and stuff like that about how it is with men? With the case of like, oh, 15 women to one man, but it's just like, uh the scenario of the ratio of that, does it always have to be like that? And then also the thing that, when, okay, all right, I understand about when it comes to a man that cheats, when a woman that cheats and stuff like that, we cheat for a reason or an actual issue. But what is the question mark that men cheat for? But I understand what you're talking about cheating. Where is the cheating coming from? Where's this factor of cheating? What is it? But every culture has something different. You said polygamy for Haitian. Like Muslims, in their culture, you're only allowed to have four
Mm-hmm.
wives in order to take care of, in order for money to supply from
According
that
to your
government to come
finances.
in,
That's
for
right.
your
Uh-huh.
finances to keep coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and money will come in to that way. So it's just like, that way it's that too. But also, if it was that the case, like, how, like, the thing is, what I had to explain to my ex, I explained to him. He's like, "Oh, that hurt me when I have to imagine this is something that we're no longer together. This is a subject that I'm talking to him about, something we're no longer together. Like, when we're no longer together, I can literally name all the females that you've been with after me. And then I only named two dudes that I was with after you. But you have a
Mm-hmm.
problem with it. A man has a problem with it more than a woman does. But I said to him, how could you say that? He's like, oh, that's me imagining that you having sex with them and this and that and the third, and that's me. That's my imagination. That's mine. And I said, what about me? Don't I can't go ahead and imagine about how you are having sex with Tasha, Kaliza, Paulina. I'm naming
Mm-hmm.
these females.
Right.
Matter of fact, everybody, sorry, these are all real females. So I'm naming them, but and what do you want me to say? What do you want me to do? Like, for me to imagine you sticking your dick in every single pussy hole that I'm naming. And then I said, what of that? What of that part? Where's the balance in that? You're pissed off
Mm-hmm.
about two men, but I can't be pissed off about the 10 women that I just named. So where's the balance in that? I can't imagine you sticking your dick in every pussy hole that I just named, or you imagining about two dicks that went at me. So
Mm-hmm.
where am I the hoe, or is, because you calling me a hoe, that reflects of what you're really doing of yourself being a hoe. So what do I tell them? How do I say that? Like, who's really being the hoe? Is it you or is it me?
I say none. Unfortunately, that becomes an emotional intelligence type of conversation to which the woman may most likely end up winning over the men most of the time due to her emotional intelligence and being, more mature. And then that also comes with childhood things, how they grew up. their perspective of the world,
Yeah.
seeing that the patriarch is the system that kind of dictates a lot of things currently now.
Yeah.
Therefore, the man gets to set up and be a particular way automatically and have the woman submit to these ideas automatically without opposing to them or having any remarks to them. You know, these are just many cogs to the system that helps it turn accordingly to their ways, opposed to your perspective, and not even having it to be a balancing act, which it won't be due to the system that we live in and here I and bow down to, you know. So that's just going to be an emotional type of pump, you know, pump and dump type of thing.
But
You
I
know,
mean, like, okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? What
hmm
about the Muslims? Since we are on that topic of relationship, but I mean, like, the actual
hmm
thing of like how the Muslim, wouldn't the Muslim, the first
exact
woman,
same way, same thing
the
as
first,
well too for the Muslim. Yeah,
yeah, but
I
it's they have the first wife, but they have the other three wives. But doesn't the first wife feel a little resentment because of the three
this
wives?
is the patriarch system we're talking about. It's the
And
same
then
thing for the Muslim. Yeah.
yes, for the Muslim too. But it's
hmm
all. But think about it. Think about it. Like, even though it's Europeanized of all this and stuff like that,
hmm
why would why it's like it's sad to go ahead and put it this way. You know, submission, I understand what the submission is in that process of the four wives, because literally she's literally sacrificing, the first wife is really sacrificing a lot more. Well, not a lot more, I would say all four of them are, because basically they're all sharing pussy juices all together, and four different DNAs altogether. And then plus on
That's
top
really
of that,
deep.
no, no, really, you got to really think about it. The science in this, the real science in this
But
concept of
yes,
notion. I'm
yes,
going
there
really
is,
deep
there
in
is,
this.
there is a science to it.
There's a
Yes,
science, the science that goes
there
into
is.
this. You're sharing four pussy juices all at once. And
Uh-huh.
then the actual book of what it says in science of how things are with four pussy juices all at once is not a pretty sight. You don't know who got gonorrhea, who got chlamydia, who got trichomonas, and who got HIV, who got this, that, and the third. You know, all this stuff comes into play and everything else. And then when a
Yes.
man also, it's sad when I see a Muslim man that has his intestines going all the way down into his balls. That's another problem altogether, and trying to do this with four of his wives. And then next
Mm-hmm.
thing, when it comes to the actual science of the actual woman's body, and it also a science of a man's urethra, if you go into one woman, how long it stays, how long the pussy juices in a woman's of a woman's pussy juices in a man's urethra's penis, how long it stays in there.
For
The actual
years.
science,
Yeah, I
no, no,
know.
no, not years. We're not talking about that. I mean, talking about like actual like a promiscuous man. Okay, let's talk about that, right? Let's see about that. The science is, when I asked my own doctor, I literally asked her this, a gynecologist, like someone that actually goes to school, doctor, this, that, did the time, went to surgery, does their, their stuff. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes down to it, I asked her this. She said, like, oh, it's 2 to 3 weeks. I said, is that right? 2 to 3 weeks. A woman's pussy juices stays in a man's urethra where he pees out. It stays in there for 2 to 3 weeks. And a man's semen stays in a woman's vagina for a week after flushing out and everything else. But also, the rest of everything else comes out when it comes to her cycle. Okay, now that's about somewhere both in the same time. When you got four pussy juices at once, now let's go back to that. So it's like a swap, swap, swap 4 times over again, or in quadruple times over and over again. But the thing
But
is,
it goes much deeper than that though. They're not even okay. So there is a spiritual component to this
yes,
because you end up absorbing their not only that person but the people that they've been as well too, their energy,
yes, that too.
which is beyond the materialistic of things. That's why I say for years,
Yeah.
because I'm looking at it from a spiritual point standpoint from the people that you enter. Not only do you absorb them, but you also absorb their
The,
partners as well too, which
yes,
is a collective of energy
yes,
that if they're not a stable people, you end up absorbing their personality in the way in their way of being. So of
yes.
course, when you have that on top of four other individuals, then there is an issue with that. Of course,
Hmm.
100%,
I
hundred
can't
percent,
believe.
hundred
I'm
percent.
sorry if I went through all that stuff of what I stated and got Jamar like his facial
Nah,
expression was
Jamal
like.
ready, he be all right.
Uh-oh.
His facial expression was like, "Oh my
Nah,
god."
I clicked on something.
So I mean,
Yeah, all right.
oh no, I see it still says recording. Uh, but I mean like what the actual when I explain this
Yeah,
to a guy, like I
they
explain
don't
this
know.
no, no, when I explain this to a guy, when I explain this kind of stuff to a guy, or even I explained it to my ex, his mind, you know how like when their eyes just slightly open and then they close a little bit, but they're still looking at you? I mean, the shock that comes into their face when I tell them about the kind of thing that's going around and the way things go around on that kind of notion when it comes to sex. And it's just like, they're like, wait a minute, you know too much. You know a lot. Like, this is just like, the ins and outs of my own sack of balls. Like, stop. Like, quit. It's like how you know that a man's sperm takes 3 months to actually mature in order to ejaculate into a woman. How do you know that it like a man's energy
You can
takes
read it.
for the actual energy for a man's energy to ejaculate, and plus the man's energy and his pre of his health of those 3 months when he ejaculates, it takes it if he hasn't been drinking too much coffee, too much alcohol. If he does do both, the woman is going to miscarry regardless, no
Yep.
matter what.
Well, no
It
matter
is
what, because the sperm is not strong enough. It's not healthy. Let's just
no.
say.
So
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, you know too much and this and that and the third. I was like, how you know too much of my own anatomy. But I was like, but I mean, I- it's like, you want this from me. You want it's like, or some men would say like, I want a baby and this and that and the third. I said, okay, you know how much energy that's going to take for us to have a
They don't
kid.
even know. They don't even know.
It's
That's
like,
the crazy part.
but I, but I,
Trust me. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right. Majority of them do not know about these things, what you just speak of.
I
Indeed.
it's like I understand the science of it. I understand the science of it when it comes to, and then how I spoke to you earlier about like how we talked about the chromosomes and everything else, and the girl that was
Mm-hmm.
26 years old and she don't know. So
Mm-hmm.
it's sad, like, you know how social media,
It
how
doesn't tell them about these at all. It
how
don't. It don't.
society suppress knowledge. And
Because society do not want strong, powerful babies to be born. Because when you provide a very strong body, that means you can therefore contact a very high spiritual being to come into the birth. It's simple as that. And the boy and it's pretty much the power that be does not want strong spiritual people to be on this earth for that reason. So
mm,
therefore, they want you to be intoxicated while you have these pregnancies and whatnot, so that you can give birth to low frequency beings. Like
mm,
it's just quite simple as that. That's why.
mm.
That is why. Because behold, if you ever be conscious of giving birth and have intentions
Yeah.
on making a contract with a strong being, you're gonna have 10,000 Jesus Christ's here, essentially.
Jeez.
And that's gonna be a problem to these people that's in power. Like it's going to be a problem, 100%.
Oh,
Like
wow.
one Malcolm was already an issue. One Malcolm X was already an issue. Imagine 1,000 Malcolm X's here. What? Imagine 1,000 Fred Hamptons here. What?
Yeah, that's
You
true.
done for? It's a wrap. It's a wrap. That man was 20 years old. Those people died very young.
Young.
It's a wrap. And their mind was brilliant, ahead of what 100 years in the future. Come on. Come on, that's dangerous to the elites. So they need people to give birth unconsciously. Like
That's
it's crazy. It's crazy.
I don't know. It's just like the thing. It just baffles me to the point of like how things are how life is and how the ignorance and how I see with ignorance on
Mm-hmm.
within our community and seeing it, and when they don't want it, they don't want the knowledge. When I see when they don't want it, and it's sad when I see it, and it's like, wow, how did this happen? How did this
Oh, it took a
function?
long time. It didn't
And
happen overnight. It took a long
no,
time. Yeah.
it's like you're seeing the ignorance, and then next thing, remember the place that I was telling you about, like the other previous job that I was telling you about, is just nothing but black women, and then
Right.
I couldn't tell them like, oh, too much. And then when I left, it was like when I came towards the time when I left, it was like I was quiet. I just brought things to the office and just like, okay, I'm gonna do my word search. Oh, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do my journaling, this, that, the third, blah, 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 while I go ahead and do my computer work or whatever. And then next thing, it was just odd. Like I didn't speak to them. I just stopped. Oh
It makes
no.
sense.
I don't know.
That makes sense because you realize the energy that you was around, and these people wasn't ready to hear the messages that you had for them. So why would I continue to stress it when you're not even listening?
Bingo.
Like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And that's the vast majority of the people that's here in this world, right? So
Yeah.
you keep that knowledge for those who are actually willing to listen and apply it.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I'm gonna say a little and be about my way, because now you can't say I never heard it before. Some way, somehow, you attracted me. You attracted this conversation. I wasn't looking for it. You just happened to ask a question, and I happened to say something for your answer.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, that's
Yeah.
completely up to you.
Yeah.
My job is done. I've exposed you to another perspective, which is a higher one.
Yep.
What you want to do with it is up to you. My job
Yep.
is done.
Yep.
And from there, we have to learn to like back away from that
Mhm.
and move on, because there are other individuals who can really use this message.
Yes.
That one is not it. So that's just what it is.
Mhm.
As people who are very conscious and are known of these knowledge, it's up to us to control our energy, because we have a lot of energy to give because we know so much, but
Right.
not everybody is ready to receive that energy. So therefore, we have to be keen on who we are trying to share this energy with.
Right.
And that's just what it is. So it comes with a lot of experiences on learning how to navigate it, and and suppress it at times, but also still trying to manage to be you without suppressing it, to be balanced, to be you regardless. You have to be you
Yeah.
regardless, no matter where you are. But also, you can't give you to everybody else, because not everybody is ready to accept you nor receive you, because of your frequency is very great. So that's a responsibility within itself. But yeah, it's a lot that goes into it, but it's very fascinating indeed. Yeah.
It is. It very much is. I
Damn, Joe, we done took over your show, man. I
Oh,
don't think you have
I
any more
do,
questions, do you?
but I'm going to. It
I'm
is.
sorry if I went too
What time
graphic.
is it? It is.
It is
It
late though.
is. It is
Yeah.
1 o'clock. It's 1:08 a.m. and I'm in training for my new position at my job, which is not
Oh
really a
goodness.
training, but I'm riding with someone, so I really would like to be there at 9:00. I don't want to be I was waiting on him, and so
No.
You gonna be there? They'll be all right.
yeah,
You gonna be there,
I'm
sir.
learning that because they don't like to get to work early because they don't want to. That's something else. But I do have
Whoa.
quite a few. Y'all can't see me. It's on this side. Quite a few questions, and I we only got to 3. I was going to ask this last one, which I just might if we can
Okay.
we could sum it up. No, question number 4, and we gonna stop after this. Question number 4 on relationships: 50-50 or doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters.
I believe it varies based on the person that you're with.
Yep.
That's and which comes with the last question that you asked, which was communication, no assumptions, right? We have to step into this knowing, you make this much, I make this much. Okay, clearly I can take care of 60% of this. Can you do 40% of that? You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily 50-50, but it comes with a communication measures of whose strength and weaknesses that there is in a relationship or this partnership that we have or this commitment, whatever you want to call it, because it is two parties coming together and coming to an agreement, not only just for love, but also what can you do for me and what I can do for you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that comes with communicating with the strengths and weaknesses of each individuals and what they can do. And then from there, we have to use our intelligence to come together to see what can work and what cannot work. We can test it out. If it works, all right, bet. If it don't, let's try something else.
Right.
So it varies.
A lot of people don't think like that. A lot of people
No.
tend to
They don't.
look at what these celebrities are doing. And one celebrity might say he has to do X, Y, and Z while I do this. Or other way around, she has to do X, Y, and Z while I do this. It's like they'll put the breadwinner in the situation and say, okay, well, if you're the breadwinner, if you're the multi-Grammy winner rapper singer, then you make millions of dollars, and I could keep the house clean.
And this is essentially a conditional programming.
Yep.
Unfortunately,
in the
it
social
is a
media, like I
program.
mentioned before.
Yeah, it's a program. Whether it's downloaded from social media, whether it's downloaded from a TV episode, whether it's downloaded from a book that you just digested. This is a program which is of not your own design, but somebody else.
Yep.
And now that program has gone into your conscious, went into your subconscious, and went into your unconscious mind. And now you're no longer the creator of this program. So you are now became susceptible to somebody else's programming. So that's what that is. It's a program that you just downloaded and you have no say about it because you didn't create it at all. You were very fascinated. You like how it was presented. And now you adopted it. And now you are it.
Yeah,
Simple.
That's what you want. That's what you expect.
I was in a relationship with a woman, clearly, but
I hope so.
She was the breadwinner. I guess if you want to use that term, she made more money than I did.
Sure.
And I never was really in a relationship where I had to discuss finances like that because we lived together. Most of my relationships previous to where I had my own spot. I did what I needed to do. They had their own spot. They did what they needed to do. And, if things came together, if you wanted to go out, go somewhere, then that's what it was. But this particular relationship, she made more money. And I'm not going to say I didn't want to talk about finances. She just, it wasn't an easy conversation because of how she was
Did
raised
she
and
bring it
how
up?
she wanted to talk about this. It was like just like she wasn't barking and talking loud, but it was very stern. And I'm like, that's not really a conversation.
Mm.
You kind of coming at me like,
Nope.
okay, I'm paying this, and I'm doing this. You make this, and this, so you need to fill this in. And I'm like, that's not a conversation. You basically just told me what I need to do. So,
These are conditions that has been laid by one individual without the other
and
one
it
having to say, essentially.
for a while it wasn't it got to a point to where it did get better. Like she was able to see her wrong, not really her wrongs, but she was like, okay, I shouldn't have came at you like that. And I was able to make, I don't know if it was even equal, but I had a job where I was making more money, and honestly I felt good. I had to also learn about financial responsibilities, freedoms, and all of these things within myself. Because I, as a man, you can't be in a relationship and say I make $800 a month, $800 a check, $1,600 a month, and she's making $3,000. Some people might not matter. A lot of men, they want to be the, hey, let me take you out. They want to be the, let me take care of home. Let me do this. Like y'all say, conditioning. It comes from the different generations before us and all of that, which times have changed. A lot of women didn't work in those
Right.
previous years in the 50s, 60s. They just didn't work. It
Right.
was the man, like, okay, I make the money, I do this. But, ooh, Lord, coughing. It just, it was a hard conversation to have, and it put me, it like it just pushed me away. Like, wow, so you're basically saying I can't have $20 to go buy me a bag of gummy bears and some Oreo cookies and a Coke or something. I can't do that. You pretty much itemized all of the finances, and like, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. And as y'all said, the
Mm-hmm.
50-50 thing is a conversation, and is very different to each thing, and it needs to be open, and the whoever brings it up needs to have it open as a conversation. Well, hey, what do you think about this? Tell me your thoughts on this. Do you agree with this? Do you disagree? How do you think we can reach this goal? That type of thing don't happen. It don't happen. People,
Hmm.
it don't
Uh,
happen.
yeah.
No.
Unfortunately.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. No, no,
See?
no.
Oh, shit.
So you got to be careful on who you pick,
Something
man.
fell.
That's all. Because
Yeah, I
dating
don't
is
know if
still
y'all heard
vetting,
that.
isn't it? You still vetting your
Something.
spouse. You still vetting your partner. There's no commitment needed. So essentially, you know what you're getting yourself into during the vetting process of this person or this individual. But do we see it like that? I don't know. I don't know. I do. Shit, I'm vetting. I'm vetting you to see you gonna be the great wife for me. You know what I'm saying? Let me throw some ideas out there to see what you think about it. Okay, bet. Why do you see it like that? It's all a vetting process. That's what dating is. We just happen to call it dating. Well, let's rename it and call it vetting. Like honestly, because where did dating come from? Because dating is a part of a program that goes with shows and commercials and books. It sells, it makes money. You know what I'm saying? But what's this call it for what it really is? It's a vetting process. Otherwise, your parents was in charge of this because they knew their parents. And if their parents was good, chances are that good parent is going to produce a good offspring. And I want my child to be associated with them. That's why the parents was involved for picking who you go with because they knew their parents. That's it. Simple. But now in this day of age where we're no longer a part of a community, it's a neighborhood where I don't even know my neighbors. Therefore, my child is really out there risking it all to find their person. And the parent has no say or no part in this vetting process whatsoever like they used to, So it's a free for all. But then when you do finally bring that person home to mom, mom is still very intuition. They're still very tapped in, so they'll let you know this is a good person or not. Still, so yeah, it's vetting. That's all it is. So when your vetting process is you check out the list of everything that you like, your preferences, then you're gonna be like, yeah, all right, I'm ready to go on to the next stage. That's it. It's simple.
My
Very
mom
simple.
said something to one of my girlfriends, of course, passed. And I kind of found this out a little bit later that she told me that whoever told me.
Mm.
And she was like, you sure you want to be with him? Do you think you can deal with this? Or he's like this or whatever. Just what the girlfriend hadn't seen. And it's a very
Yeah,
it's a very interesting and yet serious question. Do you want to live with this person who
indeed.
doesn't do this, who won't do this, who won't take the trash out, which taking the trash out is not that was actually my next question as far as roles in a relationship, but we gonna get to that because we are almost at 2 hours
Mhm.
and I have to edit this whole thing, and I nah, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But
That's cool. Take your
we
time.
gonna
Yeah,
get to
all
that
right.
as far as the roles in a relationship. Are you sure you want to be with my son who may do these things, who may not do these things? He may say my check was this much money, and he may feel he wants two pair of jeans from this particular store, and he's like, I like both of them. I'll buy both of them. And financial wise, probably not the best move, but this is who you're going to deal with. Are you sure you want to deal with something like that? It was just an example. I could come up with that, but a lot of people are like that. They're with that
Yeah,
YOLO attitude. Hey,
true.
the new Jordans come out. Damn it, they $277. I'm gonna buy them, sir. The light bill needs to be paid. You know, the pipe just busted in the bathroom. The toilet kind of rocks when you sit on it. We got to get that stuff fixed. But here you buying some Jordans.
Mhm.
Again, mom told you this is my son or dad or whoever. This is my daughter. Are you sure you want to deal with this? This
That's
she's
right.
gonna buy this purse or the things that women buy. Is this what you want to deal with? She said,
Hmm.
mm.
It's a true thing. No, it's a true
Yeah.
story. Yeah. It's a part of the vetting process. Once again, maybe she haven't seen the whole you. That's why you meet the parents, so the parents can introduce other aspects of you that hasn't been introduced, right? And then therefore she can go ahead and get a better, more picture or a full picture of you, and really, consider, right? So that's what it was all about. Yeah,
And
honestly,
it's
at
it's
its purest
definitely
form.
better to live apart and learn each other versus moving in and learning each other, because you won't quite literally come to blows, but you will come to blows, not physically but with everything else, mentally and
Eventually,
y'all will start walking around each other. Like, how do you live together and you just walk around each other and don't really speak? And
Isn't that
you know,
something?
I
Yeah,
fix
that's
myself something
crazy,
to
huh?
eat, but I ain't fix you nothing to eat. I fix myself some
Yeah.
lunch. They got stuff in there you can fix for you. Yeah, yeah,
Oof.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no. Yeah, no. You gotta go, Shawty. You gotta go. My mom would do this for me, girl. Where you at? Let me stop.
Miss,
Eesh.
go ahead. Y'all
It's
just
just
about to call you. Go ahead, go ahead. We, we gonna wrap this up in 10 minutes because this is we already at 150, an hour and 50 minutes. So yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
oh
yeah.
whoa.
Because again, I gotta edit this, and I'm still in training network.
I know you did. It's like that. I mean, I understand what you're talking about when it comes to that. It's just like it's a lot when it comes down to it, when it comes to that. But it's I feel like I don't want to say it. I mean, like I understand where you're coming from with this, and where it comes to that. What?
Say
What?
it.
What? It's like, I'm just saying, like, the line of communication, yeah, you're right on that. When it comes to a man and a woman, of course, like, it also depends on both where they come from together on it. But that social media stuff, when it comes down to it, it just messes up everything
Mm-hmm.
altogether. It does.
That's what it's
It really
supposed to
does.
do. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to do. That's what his purest intention is supposed to do. Just that. Like whatever you came up with, forget about it. Look at this imaginary thing that I made up on social media. Take it, feed onto it, eat it. Like that's what social media is intended to. It's to cause confusion on those who are not able to think for themselves. Like it's just simple as that. Or
Hmm.
those who don't have a solid foundation. Like you can't think for yourself and don't have a solid foundation. It's a wrap. You're
Yep.
done for. You're done for.
It is. It purely is. When it's completely finished altogether, like two views altogether and stuff like that, like how I stated about like how that stuff is going around, like how people on social media say like, oh, it's like I don't have the rent, or I don't have the mortgage, or I don't have this and that and the third. But like the husbands, they come out and they say like, what are you talking about? You never paid anything. He's like, and they would laugh about it. And he's like, I'm the one that's paying the utilities, everything that's in his house, the bills, the phone, all that stuff. You got everything. Like, you here. And then some of them would make the joke of like, oh, your payment is between your legs. That's what some husbands would say. And I'm like, whoa. I was like, and I said, oh my goodness. Like, they would literally say that kind of stuff. But it's just like, I was like, wow, this is the notion of where they are and stuff like that. It's
Yep.
like I understand, like how I explained it over the years. It's like, of what my parents have done. It's like it was both of them with the two income in the beginning of the start of everything. It was the both of them when it came down to me going to college. That's where the turn of everything. Not me going to college. I would say like in the high school or range. Like it was the turn of everything shifting when it came to his first business, then the investment into the second, the third, this, and then it just that's when it came to the point of like, even though my father still came to the point of like, okay, I'm still taking care of everything. And then it seems like I don't know. Like I saw a Haitian man that was talking to his son. He's like, oh, and his son was like, oh, parent divisien. He's like, no, parent divisien. Garçon toujours take care tout, les tout, avec
Yeah.
tout. I was like,
What happened?
whoa. And then I was like, c'est garçon supposé faire ça. And I was like, wow. And it's like, and then it's just like that kind of notion of what I was
What the fuck? What
listening,
happened?
what the father was saying. He's
I
like,
didn't press
oh,
stop. It's still
he's like, there's
recording.
not many fathers that actually tell their sons how to go ahead and take care of
He
things
disappeared. She
when it
Mm-hmm.
disappeared.
comes to being the head person of the house, but also taking care of your wife in a way that she is happy as well.
Sure.
But if there's two incomes, yeah, but it's still the man that takes care of everything. She gives the check, yeah, but he still takes care of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And even if like um here's the thing. When a woman does make more money, like how Jamar just stated, like my sister, my youngest sister, she does make more money than her husband.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the salary, you can't go over it. It's just I don't know, but when it comes down to it, she still makes him she still lets him be the head of the household and say
Man,
like, hey,
of course.
like, okay, I have this. What are we gonna do with this? Can we go ahead and do this, and this, and let's do this. It's like, do you want to go ahead and do this? Like, okay. It's like,
As
all
long as
right.
there's a plan. Yeah, as long as he still has a plan, he still know what he's doing. She could still trust in him,
She
no?
she still
Eh,
puts him first as the finance of everything after all the stuff is taken care of. It's
That's
like she
beautiful.
she still keeps that, like, even though that's my little sister that is too, of course they're both black, but it's that kind of notion, like
Which,
everything is.
which I think at the same time also because for me, I've accumulated a background where the matriarch is the beginning of everything.
Mhm. Mhm.
So at the same time, she kind of knows how to satisfy the ego of a man if he's still egoistic,
Mhm.
which is that the concept and idea of the man has to be this or the household or the king of the jungle, stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
That's a very ego thing, and a smart woman knows how to play to that,
Mhm.
because to me, at the end of the day, a nation is born from a woman.
Mhm.
Because when I'm at work, where my kids at? They're with the woman. They're with the
Mhm.
mother.
Mhm.
And she is in charge of teaching them how to do this, how to do that,
Yep.
how to say this, how to say that. You know what I'm saying? She controls a nation.
Mhm. Yep.
So the matriarch is the architect to every single thing there is. And a smart woman is going to is going to be able to stroke the man ego in a
Mhm.
way that enables him to make him feel like he's in charge, but in reality, he's never really in charge.
Mhm. Oh, how could you say that? Oh my God.